So a much needed video update, way overdue. We're working on the roll cage, making it based on the FIA 250 Article 253, and at the same time I'm trying to comply with the American Rally Association, so I can try to put this car in a few rally stages, as well as the score and oh man, I forgot the other one. So a race that goes in Mexico that is similar to the car, which is my end goal. Um, when I was building the roll cage, I was trying to put this main hoop as far back as I can, but I'm limited by the fender wells. I ended up removing this the glove, how do you call this, compartments that pretty much were useless, and they were getting kind of tight with the cage. This also made me realize that the original seat mounts that I had were too far back, so they were hitting the cage, and I had to change them once again. And I had to change it again. At least Rachel's my co-pilot, my wife, she's too tall. She's taller than me, and she was hitting the cage with the helmet, so I had to drop her seat a lot more. As you can see, I still use the original um, cross members that are in the unibody, but for her, let me show you, I had to remove those, grind them out. Oh man, I should have taken the seat. Well, they're just not there. As you can see, I had to make a few patches. I even had to cut this tunnel. You cannot see right now on video, but there's a tunnel here about 1.25 inches taller than the floor. It goes all along the body, and that's where the fuel lines and the fuel return are. So I had to cut that to try to mount her seat even lower. She's so tall that even with the seat all the way to the floor, it wasn't enough. I had to cut some of the floor to make it fit. So now she is good. Unfortunately, that makes her seat sit lower than mine. Mine is not on, but that's why you can tell that my belt bar is higher than hers. Hers is lower because I'm trying to keep optimal angle for both. I'm still working on the gusset for these diagonals, which is mandatory, but the rest of the cage has been welded now, fully welded. It's not pretty, but it'll hold. These welds are not easy when you're upside down or in tight corners. As you can see, they're not the best, but I'm pretty comfortable with them. I trust them. I think they're pretty solid, and they can take a beat. I feel safe in this car. I try to put this roll cage as close as possible to the roof. As you can see, there is just no space. Same thing with the roof cross members. They have a couple angles, 10 degrees and 15 degrees here, to try to follow the roof line. Making this side laterals was a pain in the ass, because they're changing a lot of directions. So they come in at 13 degrees, and then they come into the 40 I think, or 37, and they, at the same time that they bend down, they have to bend out. As you can see, that the pillar opens up, so I had to open up and then come back in again, but with a different angle to make it fit straight. Pain in the ass. Good thing that I bought, I think I mentioned on a prior video, I bought some cheap steel that was non-DOM to practice, and I did some practice. Here you can see my all attempts. I have a few more bends, I think, outside. But yeah, every time I had a difficult bend to do, I would do it in a cheap material, and learn it and screw it up, and then use the learnings to the expensive DOM material. And I also got caught with the expensive DOM material. It doesn't bend as in the same manner, or it doesn't stretch in the same manner as the cheap material. So as I was building the cage and I was following my notes, sorry for my my shitty notes, I have notes everywhere. As I was following my notes from the cheap material, the expensive material, the DOM wasn't following. Like, whenever I do a bend, now the piece was longer than before, meaning that the material hadn't stretched as much as the older one, and pain in the ass. But the good thing is that I learned how to navigate the um, how to say the difficulties that the tube bender brings. This is a new tube bender. I'm not sure if I put it on video. JD Square. I love it. It's been great. Easy to bend, even though it's an actual manual uh, bender. You don't have a hydraulic or pneumatic force. It's actually manual. Still works great. Just bolted it to the ground. Made my own pipe, and the thing is, it's a bomber. I love it. I got two dies, 1.5 and 1 7/8, obviously for the two types of tubing that I have in this cage. One more thing that I realized, I didn't want to have to do these secondary backstays. I wanted to keep just the single ones to try to keep this car as lightweight as possible. As you already know, this barely has any horsepower. But with the design that I chose to do, because of Rachel being so tall, I had to do the V with you can see this V on the roof, and if you do this V, you have to put these two extra backstays. I want to really do the inverse V, where you go from this corner to the center and then from that corner to the center, and no extra backstays. But she was just too tall, kept hitting the tubing, so that was the only option. I'm going to post or include a few videos of how I'm building this cage. I put most of my videos on Instagram. That's Rust Bucket Z altogether. Rust Bucket Z. It's hard for me to put shorts on YouTube because they don't work as well as Instagram. So I keep dumping most of my work on Instagram, but this is a good summary for whoever likes to use YouTube. Cage was built on boxes. As you can see, there's another box out there in the front, and right here, this one is not closed yet. I still got my pieces to finish closing it, but that's how you get to drop the cage down and weld the top. Obviously the cage needs to have full welds all along, and the scrutineering guys before the race will be checking for those welds to be complete. So that's the best way for me to make up space on the roof without having to cut the roof or without having to cut the floor, which in the front wouldn't have been a problem. I could just drop the cage down to the floor. But here in the back, there's multiple layers. These unibodies are a pain in the ass. now currently working on these door bars. Again, they're mandatory. Still hasn't been welded. Obviously, it's just grinded and put into place. I'm gonna weld them tomorrow. Running low in gas. We'll see if I have enough. But the only thing that I'm missing, at least on this side, it's uh, the A pillar reinforcement. So when you have the distance from this point to this point longer than 20 centimeters, you have to put a support member that goes like this. So one more member is got to go here, and this side will be done. Obviously, well, I need to weld it. Obviously, right now it's just all loose, but on its way. And same thing on the other side. Obviously, I'm still missing the the, um, the upper door member and the support A pillar. I wanted to do the gussets on the side, like most race cars have, and look pretty cool. But that means taking the windshield out. And every video that I see on YouTube of people removing this windshield, they break it. I'm so afraid of doing that. They're super expensive, and I might not remove it. I might just keep it there and not do the cool gusset. Maybe I'll just do it here. Another thing that was added was the hood pins. The American Rally Association, they require you to have hood pins, and this turn off, I guess, the functionality of your locking system from the inside. So it makes sense for if they need to open the hood and you're passed out or whatever, they can open it from the outside. A few things that are coming down the pipe will be an external kill switch, battery kill switch, and then an internal switch connected to the external switch, so we can control it from the inside and the outside. Also, FI mandatory. Fuels, fire extinguishers, I still gotta buy them. One's gotta go here in the front of the passenger, the other one will be in the back. And a bunch of other stuff that are required, at least what the Dakar Classic regulations. I think it's water, 2 tires, some safety medical kit, and then like emergency hazard road triangles, and a few other little things. A couple external lights, extra from the brake lights and extra from the running lights. I'm probably gonna put a how do you call that, a roof rack, because I don't think I'm gonna have enough space to put 2 extra tires and all the shit that I just told you. So we'll see. That's down the pipe. Also I have to protect this tank. I was off-roading with the car. As you can see, I scratched the tank already. It needs protection, and if we're gonna put this in some rally stages, we need to definitely cover the tank. In fact, I think the American Rally Association requires you to cover the tank. So that's a future project too, once we're done with the roll cage.